Hello, this is wmpyr. In this video today, I would like to talk about the angles of attack and the purpose for the angles of attack, okay? And in all honesty, the reason why I'm making this video is because earlier on YouTube, I saw a video with a world-famous instructor, and basically what he did was he was teaching European dagger fighting, okay? So that's what he was teaching, but in the video, he put down Filipino martial arts and he put down Japanese sword fighting, okay? So he, in his mind, European sword fighting or European dagger fighting is superior to the Filipino systems and the Japanese system of blade fighting, okay? So basically, it was just kind of sad to see that. I thought he had good material, but it was just that, you know, his point of view that the European version was superior, and also that it was more in-depth in strategy, that it had a much more profound and deeper level of understanding of combat compared to the Filipino or the Japanese systems. And, you know, this kind of negative talk, this kind of criticism, and this kind of, you know, prejudice, basically, you know, it's just every time I see it, I feel sad that it still exists to this day. You know, that this guy calls himself an instructor and he has such a negative attitude like that. You know, you guys beware. Okay, the moment someone starts saying that a certain style is superior to another style, you know, that this kind of talk is very dangerous area. So you need to be careful. You know. With someone who's very negative like that, okay? Even if they sound like they're joking or whatever, it's not cool, it's not professional, you know, it's like I said, it is prejudice, all right? It is discrimination, you know, and it's definitely, at the very least, you can say that person has a superiority complex, okay? So in this video, basically what I want to do is, because what I show is the Filipino martial arts, and what I show is actually a small portion of the Filipino martial arts. Here on YouTube, what I show is solo training so that you can train at home by yourself. That, once again, that is a very small portion of Filipino martial arts, okay? And even though what I show is very specific and very small portion of it, I'd like to explain that it still can be very, very deep, profound, and you can work on it for a lifetime, you know, work on perfecting it for a lifetime, okay? So that there is value there. So that's why I'm making this video. And there are some things that I really focus on the stuff that I teach here on YouTube. The first thing is angles of attack. The second thing is arm weaving, like the Heaven Six. And then the third thing is figure eight and circular motions. Okay, so basically maybe I'd like to make this a three-part video where I explain the purpose for each one, okay, and how to kind of like develop it and what you're trying to do with it, essentially. So the first one here in this video, angles of attack, okay. So I just want to show that, yes, that, you know, even this is something, you know, that is a small portion. This is not the full thing. I'm no representative for the Filipino martial arts. You know, I'm just a practitioner, and what I do is not pure Filipino martial arts anyway, okay? But even then, this stuff can still be deep. So that's what I want to show you. It's really not you saying, oh, I'm a Kali practitioner, therefore I'm lethal with blades, or, you know, I'm a BJJ guy, so I'm awesome on the ground, or I'm an MMA guy, so, you know, I could fight real well-rounded and I could beat a lot of styles or something like that. You know, that's all hiding behind the name, hiding behind the style. You know, and I want people to get away from that. Therefore, style is really not important. It doesn't matter if you're training in some, you know, tribal martial art or some, you know, Arctic martial art or some eclectic, you know, form, or some very, very new hybrid, or, you know, some very, very traditional style. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you put into it. You know, so for you to say, you know, I trained at this world-famous academy under this world-famous instructor, and, you know, all that certifications and all that is nothing compared to what you as an individual put in. That is something that they can never take away from you, you know. So don't hide behind the name, don't hide behind the style, don't hide behind the credentials and accomplishments and stuff like that, you know. It's what you make of it is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So all right. So the angles of attack. The first thing that you pretty much want to develop here is hand-eye coordination. Okay. Most people that start off with learning Eskrima, Filipino martial arts and stuff, they're not quite there yet to start doing arm weaving stuff like the Heaven Six. It's just too difficult. Okay, so before you get there, what's really going to help is for you to develop some hand-eye coordination. Okay, and you know, even though that is true, I still try to get my students to get to the Heaven Six as fast as possible. All right, because hand-eye coordination is something that you work on for a lifetime. Okay, I'm still working on hand-eye coordination. All right, we're talking about precision and accuracy. Okay, it does take a lifetime. So it's not like you get to a certain point, you're developing hand-eye coordination, and then you go, okay, I got it. Now I don't have to work on it. Now I can work on other techniques. Now I could do arm weaving. That's not the way it works. You still keep working on hand-eye coordination. Okay, primary example I could give you is that years ago, basically, when they were in the apartment that I was living at, there were like hornets trying to build a nest, all right, in my balcony. So what I did was I would grab a staff, the longest one I could find, and I would knock off the nest, and then I would run back in and close the door as fast as I could. Okay, that's what I used to do to combat that, so they won't build a nest right in my balcony. And then, you know, later on, I got to the point where I could get the Eskrima stick, you know, which is a lot shorter than a long, you know, bow staff or something like that. And I could get the Eskrima stick, I could knock it off, and then they're angry, so they're coming after me. And I could use the Eskrima sticks or single stick, to basically ward them off. Okay, I was comfortable, confident enough to where I knew I wasn't going to get sting, and I could definitely make them go away. That wasn't a problem. I would like to get to the point where I could actually, you know, strike them, you know, with the stick. Not at that level yet. Maybe I'll never get to that level, but it's definitely something to aim for. You know, you just keep practicing, keep trying to get better and better and better. So that's my example that hand-eye coordination, you know, is something that you work on for a lifetime. Okay, so that's the first step. The second thing, I have a small list right here. The second thing is combos. Okay, from the angles of attack, you learn about combos. Okay, so basically, there's a lot of different angles of attack forms out there. I learned 2 different 5 angles of attack, which I have showed you guys in my videos. And then I learned, I believe it was 3 different 12 angles of attack form. I only remember 2 of them. Okay, and then I learned, I think it was a 24 angles of attack, which I don't remember. It could have been an 18 or a 24, but I don't remember that one at all. I guess it was too long. I wish I had recorded it. I wish I had remembered it. But, you know, if I really wanted to, I'm sure there's someone on YouTube showing it, you know, or showing something similar at least. But you go to the Philippines or you train in Filipino martial arts, every person that I've met, that I've trained with who did some kind of Filipino martial arts, their angles of attack form was different from mine. Slightly different here, slightly different there. Okay, so basically the reason for that, and I think it's a good thing not to unite them all and only have one angles of attack. I think it's good that there's different ones because different ones teach different combinations. Okay, and it's not that 1 through 12, so it's a 12 combo strike. No, within the 12, you know, you make combos within there. Okay, the order is important too. So that order teaches you a specific ways to link. So when you go from number 1 to number 2, the transition going from, you don't just go number 1 and then you just do number 2. You go from number 1 and then it continues to number 2. That continuation process is very important in learning combos, how to string together moves together. Okay, and then once, let's say you're doing the 5 angles of attack, once you finish the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go from 5 back to 1, once again, is also important as well. So it's all about combos. Now, even if you come from the school of thought where it's like a Japanese karate system where it's like 1 hit, 1 kill, all right? Even if you come from that school of thought, which, you know, that's a different school of thought. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, okay? I think it's good to have multiple methods of thinking, multiple different strategies. So I think it's cool. I also utilize, attack in bunches, attack in combos to camouflage and mix your attacks together. I utilize both types of thinking, okay, depending on my opponent, depending on the circumstance, all right? But even if you come from a one-hit, one-kill type way of thinking, it still helps to camouflage your attack. So maybe you're only going to do one attack, but the other one is a fake, okay? Or maybe the first two are defenses, and then the third one is your finishing kill, So the first two are only defensive moves. Or maybe your first move is a finishing kill, and then your next one is a defensive move, just in case as the person's falling over, you don't want to get nicked on the leg or something like that, so it's a defensive move, so even then those are still combos, okay? So combos, very, very important, okay? And then the next one is basically the angles of attack. It's called the angles of attack because you're learning different targets, you're learning different ways to attack. So there's this angle, there's this angle, and there's this, and on that angle there's different targets, like the collarbone, or maybe even the temple, just different areas that you are attacking all along that line, okay? So you're learning that, but at the same time, on the flip side, you're also learning the areas where you're vulnerable as well. So as you attack, where are you vulnerable? So your attacks also take you to defense. So you're attacking and you're using good body mechanics to put in power, but at the same time, you're also using body mechanics to move out of the way, okay? So there's also the defensive aspect of angling yourself, okay? Because these are angles, and that takes you to angling, guess what? Footwork. So you're going into angling footwork as well. So you attack and you continue your forward motion in that angle to get out of there. So it's not just about pure attacking. It's the attacks also lead to defense, and because it's kind of like the the yin and yang type thing. You're attacking and you're defending. Okay, so it goes both ways. Okay, especially with a partner, because you're gonna have to take turns. But maybe doing it by yourself is going to be a little bit harder in that way, but you could still visualize, all right? So the last step, I would have to say, is definitely substituting different techniques, okay? And this will actually take us to the Heaven 6. And one of the things I've said about the Heaven 6 and the arm weaving type motions is that they are generators, and meaning from there you could just start doing any kind of technique. Any kind of technique can come out. And also, it's multi-purpose, that the Heaven 6 is basically the Swiss Army knife of martial arts tools, of martial arts techniques, that it is multi-purpose, okay, like a multi-tool. That's a good way to think of it. So basically, as you're doing the angles of attack, there's different purposes that you're doing it. Like I said earlier, we already hinted out that by learning your attacks, you're also learning your defensive angles as well. So that means it's starting to become multi-purpose there. So by this time, you're also using your attacks for attacks, you're also using your attacks for defense, you're also using your attack for counters, and the techniques themselves have multiple purpose. Okay, so like you can come in here with a hammer fist, you could come in here with a chop, you could come in here with a punch, so you could substitute with other techniques, and those techniques may change what you're trying to do, so maybe it's just a fake, or maybe you're actually building power for your next strike, okay? There's a lot of different purposes that one technique can exist for. So, okay, so hopefully that helps you. That's a lot of stuff, and each one of those things can really, how deep do you want to go? You could really spend your entire life mastering it. It's not necessary to master everything, but I think you can see that with like a really, really good judo practitioner, or someone who does combat sports and stuff, they're really, really good at like one or two things. They're like exceptional, phenomenal, like in one or two things. They can do the other stuff, but they specialize in that one or two area, and that's how they win, you know. So the same thing that you can do, you want to have a general background to where you're going to be able to be versatile and adapt and stuff and have a good understanding of things, but at the same time, you also want, you know, a couple of your weapons razor sharp. So like I said, any of these you could decide to choose to, you know, master, you know, and specialize in, and just like, you know, like graduate school, keep studying and work on your master's degree. So anyway, thank you for listening. Take care, folks.